Hey, what's going on? And McDonald, the Life Regenerator. I'm chilling in the Northern Cascade Mountains in Oregon, and just taking a little retreat from the in the hot springs here. Right now I'm currently chilling in the medicine wheels. There's 4 different medicine wheels. It starts out over there, warm, warmer, warmer, boiling hot, and then over there there's a little cold dip. I've been in the hot springs all day, sipping on lemon ginger blast. I just did have a lunch of tomatoes, so feeling pretty good. I was going to take a walk and then do some yoga after that, but I was just like so relaxed. Because what I do is I go from the hot into the cold. People ask me all the time, what can you do for your skin? Well, one thing you can definitely do that's very and extremely helpful is what's called hydrotherapy, where you get in the hot, and you can do this in your shower too. You get in the hot, and you get nice and warm, and it expands all the blood vessels. And then you turn the cold on when you're nice and hot. You turn the cold on, and you hit your head, your face, your back, your chest. Especially let it run down your brain and your nervous system. It kind of forces you to breathe deep as well, but the warmth expands, and then the cold contracts, and it's actually a lymphatic exercise. I always talk about the lymphatic system because the lymphatic system is the immune system. Anything we can do to get that thing working. A lot of times people think that the lymphatic system only moves when you're exercising it. In a certain way that's true, but in another way, the more relaxed you get, the more that the lymphatic system can release, open up, expand, and relax. So during the process of healing, it's really good to have a balance of the activity and the rest. If you really want to have a good life, you'll learn how to balance you'll be really good at activity and making sure that you get a nice vigorous something every day, whether it's for half an hour or 45 minutes or whatever. If you're a little bit more athletic and in better shape, you can exercise for 2 or 3 hours. Or, I mean, I used to have a day job working on roofs. I would work for 8 or 10 hours straight, so it'd be like an 8 or 10 hour cardiovascular workout. I was in really good shape. Of course, I could do that now too. I find cardio to be really easy. Sometimes keeping the energy levels up during periods of detox. There's a lot going on when it comes to detox regeneration. There's a lot of people that want to sit on one side of the fence or the other. And I get a little emotionally involved, I'll be honest with you. That's why I'm really trying to practice humility. Because the more humble that I become, the less that I'll be offended by the things that people say about me in these videos and whatnot, you know. So I'm just trying to be humble because I still get bothered a little bit. It's about, on a scale of 1 to 10, when in the dark days for like the last year, really, there was some dark days in there where it was really getting to me, you know. And that was like a level 8, 9, where you guys were like, I was losing a lot of people because they were like, this has just gotten sad, you know. And it was sad, but I never give up and I never quit. And I love doing my daily job of the videos, so I kept boring through. Because I knew that there's always a breakthrough. If you keep going, that's how it's going to be with your health. That's how it's going to be with your relationships. If you stay in the game and you're in it to win it, you will have breakthroughs. It's the people that give up that they'll never have any breakthroughs. They'll never achieve anything. Because what are you going to do? Give up? No way, dude. You know, so anyways, it bothers me about maybe a level 2 now sometimes, where people misunderstand things. I just need to remember it's usually a misunderstanding or someone's having a bad day. I got to remember too, a lot of people that aren't well are attracted to these videos. So, and when you're not well and you have lots of parasites and bacteria in your intestines, they actually control your mind a lot more than you think. That's why I like to stay cleaned up, drink a lot of green juice, and try to stay highly oxygenated, because the viruses and the bacteria can't really proliferate in a high oxygen, high chlorophyll environment. That's why I always, tell everybody, drink a lot of green juice, go have a lot of fun, but also master the art of relaxation. I've been here today for about 6 or 8 hours probably, and it just took me about that long to relax. When I first sat in the sauna, in the hot springs, I was kind of, shaking around. I was really aware of how uppity my mind is, how kind of wound up I am. Finally, though, I'm starting to really chill out a lot and relax. I was like, I'm going to go for a walk and do some yoga. Well, that was this morning. But then as the day wore on and I really finally started to relax, I was like, forget it. I have enough time to do yoga. There's enough time to take walks and exercise. Right now, I want to really master the art of relaxation, letting go. So I was in the sauna and I was just really letting go, It's not that deep of a level. It's really hard for my mind to let go at depth, to be honest with you. And that's something that I sort of fretted about it for like 10 or 15 minutes. I was like, wow, I was meditating. I was like, wow, dude, you are so wound up. But then I was like, it's only going to make me more wound up to worry about being wound up and try to force myself to relax and let go of how the mind operates. Because as a spiritual person, you really want to learn how to, kind of control the mind in a way, but not be controlled by the mind. But I learned, though, that through all these years, you can't force anything. You can't force yourself in so many different areas of life. You can't force yourself to be 100% raw food. You can't force yourself to quiet your mind. It just has to be something that becomes more and more important to you. I mean, like, as you guys know, I've been on the raw foods for 11 years, and at first I started out really pure, and I just did what the Gospel of Peace said, and I just did fruits, vegetables, salads, smoothies, and goat's milk. And then I got into the whole thing, but I never really did realize, because I had a lot of Bragg's in the beginning, and sea salt, and all kinds of stuff too. I was all raw, but then I never really realized that I was addicted to like salt, which is the sign of an adrenal weakness. And so then I was just like, one night I had all this salt and nuts. And I woke up this next day and I just looked terrible, and I felt terrible, And I was like, okay, that's it. And then I took the nuts out, but then the next day I had salt again, and it was like, I looked terrible again. So it seems like whenever I take out the salt, my kidneys don't seem to get waterlogged, which is a whole video series in itself. But for me personally, I want to break the salt spice habit, because I eat a lot cleaner and I eat more appropriately, the appropriate amounts, without all the condiments and stuff, which generally can cause us to overeat. But if you just eat like apples, you're going to eat like 2-3 apples and you're good. I know that a lot of people are concerned with calories and carbohydrates, but I got to be honest with you, it's just not part of my genre. Later on, when I go to rebuild, when I've finished what I've wanted to finish, which I realize is very not well understood, what I'm trying to do here. Now, my mentors, they understand, because they went through it. But if you have been unwell and you spent your lifetime living riotously, you'll have a debt to pay to nature for your brain renewal and regeneration that way, and the regeneration and renewal of your adrenals, the heart and lungs for a lot of people, whatever it is, wherever the toxins have accumulated, wherever kind of whichever chakra was out. Okay, there's a huge, profound field of knowledge when it comes to health. When you're like, your heart chakra's out because you want to love, but there's nobody around you that can accept love. You know, you learn to love them anyways, and then your heart chakra opens up anyways. But not a lot of people, they love, but they expect that love to be returned. I learned a long time ago to never ever expect anyone to ever return the love. It doesn't even matter if they return that love or not. And now, of course, I always wanted to be accepted, and I found a lot of love and acceptance through these YouTube videos, because people that wanted to be there could be there, and if you didn't want to be there, you don't have to be here. So the people that understood and were digging the vibe of the Dan and all that I represent and whatnot, myself as a person, I was getting a lot of love and acceptance, which I still do appreciate a lot. But as you grow, you realize, man, I really just need to accept myself, and it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. So that's what I'm working on now, and this all comes in stages. I talk about myself a lot as a vlogger, but I think that you know and respect me well enough to know that by sharing my own experiences, I think that you can glean some of the insights that you maybe want to utilize for yourself. And so that's how I've been teaching, because my own subjective experience is the most powerful thing that I know. You know, I can read all the books on China that I want, but unless I go to China, you know what I'm saying? And even if I went to China, I still wouldn't be Chinese. So I have to experience it to know it. So my experience has been really cool with the raw foods, and the amount of transformations I've seen is incredible. And the deeper level stuff too, where I see people that call me up. I don't see that many raw food dudes talking about the forgiveness, which I think is far more important than the chemistry and physics of the consumption of food. I've seen epic transformations with the forgiveness. There are physiological factors when it comes to raw food and everything when you eat. I gotta get out of here, y'all. Just wanted to make a quick one. Hi.
Hi.
And I will see you all later, because I said when someone comes up, I will have to say goodbye. Peace.